I want to start today by putting a word on the table that, frankly, carries a massive amount of cultural baggage.
Oh, yeah, it really does.
If you spend any time on social media or just listening to people talk about relationships, you've probably heard this word weaponized.
Right.
It's used as an insult. It's used to dismiss people. The word is validation.
It really is one of those terms that has been completely stripped of its nuance at this point.
Exactly.
Like you hear validation seeker and you immediately picture someone who is insecure or needy.
Maybe a little desperate for attention.
Right.
Like the person posting the selfie and deleting it if it doesn't get 50 likes in 10 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. That's the cliche.
And we look at that behavior, and the cultural script is just, get some self-esteem, stop looking for external approval.
Which is such a surface level read.
And this is why I was so excited to dig into this specific stack of research today. Our sources are suggesting that we have been looking at this completely wrong.
We have. And not just slightly wrong, but fundamentally misunderstanding the biology at play here.
Biology. See, I usually think of validation as a personality trait, like a quirk. You're saying it's hardware.
It is absolutely hardware.
Yeah.
If we look at the psychological mechanics presented in the source material, validation isn't a sign of weakness at all.
Okay.
It is a fundamental neurological request for mirroring. And that isn't a flaw. It's an actual requirement for the nervous system to function.
Okay, mirroring. I want to unpack that because it definitely sounds a lot better than being needy.
It does.
What exactly are we asking for when we look for this mirroring?
Well, when we strip away the judgment, asking for validation is actually asking for very specific, very human questions.
Right. I remember this from the text.
The sources identify them as, do you see me? Do I make sense? Am I allowed to feel this?
Mm-hmm.
And am I safe here?
Am I allowed to feel this? That one hits a nerve for me.
It's profound as
It feels existential. It's not just, do you like my shirt? It's more like, is my internal reality actually happening?
Precisely. And that is the core mission for this deep dive.
Yeah.
We need to parse the difference between that healthy biological need for connection,
Mirroring.
the mirroring exactly, and what the sources call a survival strategy of dependency. Because on the surface, they look identical,
They really do.
but the engine driving them is completely different.
And for you listening, we aren't just going to admire the problem today.
No, definitely not.
We're going to get into the toolkit for what the text calls internal stabilization. Because I think a lot of us, myself included, have moments where we just feel like an emotional bottomless pit.
We all do. But to fix it, we have to go back to the start. We had to look at how machinery was built in the first place.
The origin story.
Right.
So the source material starts with this concept that humans are inherently relational, which sure sounds like a nice greeting card sentiment, but they mean it literally, right?
Literally and biologically. We do not form our identities in a vacuum.
Right.
A human brain, especially a developing one, cannot self-regulate or self-define in isolation. Identity forms through reflection.
So paint the picture for us. How does this actually happen in real time?
Think about an infant, a baby.
Okay.
That child looks at a caregiver's face. That face is their entire dashboard. They're looking for data points to confirm their own existence.
Wow. Their entire dashboard.
Yeah, and they are learning three crucial things. My emotions are real, my experience matters, and I am not invisible.
So the parent is the mirror.
Exactly.
If the baby is crying and the parent looks concerned and soothes them, the baby gets data that says, okay, I feel bad. The giant human sees that I feel bad, therefore my feeling is real.
That's it. That is successful mirroring.
Okay.
The internal feeling matches the external feedback. The nervous system calms down.
And here comes the pivot.
Here is where the split happens. What happens when that reflection is inconsistent or entirely absent?
The mirror is cracked, or nobody's holding it up at all.
Right. If a child cries and is ignored or laughed at or told, stop crying, you're fine, the data they receive is conflicted.
It doesn't match their internal state.
Exactly. The message becomes, my internal sensors are wrong. Or worse, I don't exist. Now here's the crucial part.
What's that?
The need for that validation doesn't vanish just because the mirror is broken.
This creates a massive deficit then.
It creates a panic. The source material frames this perfectly. When reflection fails, validation shifts from being a relational joy to a survival strategy.
Because you're starving for the data.
You are literally trying to confirm your reality.
Right.
Because you don't trust your own sensors anymore. You become hypervigilant.
So this is where the quote-unquote neediness comes from. It's not ego.
Not at all.
It's a scramble for data. It's shifting from, I want to share this feeling with you, to, I need you to tell me if this feeling is even happening.
That is the pivot point.
Yeah.
You're no longer looking for connection. You're looking for proof of life.
Okay, but let me play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
Because as adults, we all ask for validation. I mean, I ask my partner if I handle a work situation while I ask my friends if my outfit is okay.
Sure, we all do.
If we start labeling all of that as a survival strategy, aren't we just pathologizing normal human interaction? Like, where is the line?
That is a very valid pushback. And the sources are very clear that we aren't trying to create an army of stoic robots here.
Right. Good.
The difference really lies in the script. The material gives us two distinct internal monologues to help us tell the difference between healthy validation and dependency.
Okay. Walk us through the healthy script first.
A healthy script sounds like this. I know what I feel. I want connection.
I know what I feel. I want connection. So I'm bringing the data to you. I'm not asking you to create it for me.
Correct. You are grounded in your own experience.
Yeah.
You just want to share it.
Okay.
Now compare that to the dependency script. I do not know what I feel unless you confirm it.
Oof. Yeah, that's a very different energy.
Extremely different.
That's basically handing someone a blank check and saying, write my reality for me.
It is outsourcing your identity. And that is the danger zone right there.
Why is it so dangerous, though? Just because it's annoying to the other person?
No, it's dangerous for you.
Yeah.
When you operate from that second script, you are weakening your internal stability because you are effectively bypassing your own judgment center.
Oh, wow.
You are relying entirely on external navigation.
Which perfectly explains that loop. And I know every single person listening has been on one side of this conversation at some point. The "are you mad" loop.
Oh, the classic anxiety loop.
Yeah, you know the one. Are you mad? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Do you still love me? Of course.
Was that joke I made? Okay. It feels like just normal anxiety in the moment, but the sources say this is actually a specific mechanical failure.
It is. It's so easy to dismiss that behavior as just being insecure. But if we look closer, the source frames this as an attempt to regulate anxiety through reassurance. Regulate anxiety through reassurance. Break that down for me.
It means the person has unclear internal referencing. They feel a spike of cortisol maybe from a silence or a weird look.
Right, their alarm bells go off.
And they cannot settle that biological alarm on their own. They literally don't have the internal brakes.
So they reach out to another person to pump the brakes for them.
Exactly. Tell me, okay, so my heart rate will go down.
That is actually kind of tragic when you put it that way.
It really is.
They aren't actually asking about your anger. They're saying, please help me turn down the volume on my panic.
That's exactly it. It's a physiological request. But here is the trap, and the sources are emphatic about this. The long-term solution is not endless reassurance.
Because it works like a drug, right?
Okay.
The tolerance just builds up.
It is a bottomless pit.
Yeah.
If you need me to regulate you today, you'll need me to regulate you tomorrow.
And the next day.
And eventually the reassurance stops working. You need more and more of it just to get the same baseline effect.
So what's the way out?
The only way out is to build your own braking system, what the text calls internal stabilization.
Internal stabilization. I love that term. It sounds like structural engineering.
It practically is.
But how do we actually build it? Because it's easy to sit here and say, just trust yourself. But if you spent 30 years outsourcing your reality, that muscle is severely atrophied.
It is atrophied, and you have to rehab it slowly. The source outlines a toolkit with 4 specific strategies.
Okay, let's get into the toolkit.
And I want to be clear before we start, none of these are about cutting people off. This isn't about becoming an isolated island.
Right. It's not about never talking to anyone again.
No. This is about retrofitting your internal foundation.
Okay, let's get into the weeds here. Strategy number 1, self-confirmation.
This is your first line of defense.
Yeah.
Usually when that anxiety spikes, let's say you sent a text and didn't get a reply right away.
Oh, yeah, the terrible waiting period.
The impulse is to immediately reach out again or text a third party and ask, is this okay? Did I mess up?
The urge to outsource here. Hold my anxiety for me, please.
Exactly. Self-confirmation means inserting a pause, a literal physical pause before you send that follow-up.
Just stopping your thumbs.
You have to ask yourself the questions you're dying to ask them. What do I feel right now? Why do I feel it? And is this feeling proportionate to the facts?
Is it proportionate? That is the killer question.
It really is.
It's about becoming your own sanity check.
You are trying to engage your own prefrontal cortex. You're practicing using your own mirror.
Even if it feels fake at first.
Especially if it feels fake at first. You might answer yourself and say, I don't know. But you have to try. You are training the brain that you are a valid source of information.
It's like deliberately breaking the circuit. Okay, strategy number 2. This one feels like a direct follow-up to that. Separating emotion from fact.
This is crucial for anyone with high validation needs. We tend to completely conflate the two.
Like, I feel rejected, therefore I am rejected. I
Exactly.
feel unsafe, therefore this situation is inherently dangerous. My internal weather report suddenly becomes the actual weather.
That's a great analogy. But feelings, while completely real as an internal experience, are not always accurate reporters of external reality.
Right.
The strategy here is to acknowledge the feeling. Like, I am feeling anxious and ignored.
Without denying it.
Right. While simultaneously looking at the facts, which might be, my friend hasn't texted back in 2 hours because they were at a busy conference.
So you validate the emotion without validating the catastrophe narrative.
Yes.
Yes.
You validate the internal state,
Yeah.
but you fact-check the external cause. You stop the spiral by creating that wedge between what I feel and what is actually happening.
Okay, moving to strategy number 3. And honestly, looking at the notes here, this one scares me the most.
A lot of people find this one intimidating.
Building self-trust through small decisions.
Yeah, this is essentially exposure therapy for decision-making.
Because if you have this dependency script running, you probably ask for input on literally everything.
Yeah.
What should we have for dinner? Does this email sound too aggressive? Should I buy these shoes?
You're polling the audience for every single move.
Yes.
Building self-trust means deliberately making small decisions without seeking approval. And I mean really small.
Give us an example. What's a level 1 risk here?
You go to lunch, you look at the menu,
Yeah.
you pick the sandwich you want,
Okay.
and you order it without asking the person across from you, what are you getting? Is the turkey good here?
You just execute the choice.
You just execute.
And then you have to sit with the terror that you might have ordered the wrong.
The completely wrong sandwich.
Right.
It sounds silly,
Yeah.
but yes,
Yeah.
you eat the sandwich. Maybe it's great. Maybe it's terrible.
But the world didn't end.
Exactly. The lesson you learn isn't about the sandwich. The lesson is, I made a choice and the world didn't end.
Mm.
You learn that your own judgment is survivable.
Survivable. I love that. It's low stakes, high autonomy. You're proving to yourself that you can steer the ship even if it's just a tiny dinghy.
Exactly. You build that track record over time. I handled the sandwich. I handled the email. Eventually, you trust yourself to handle the relationship.
That brings us to the final tool. And I think this is the boss level of internal stabilization. Strategy number 4, tolerating ambiguity.
This is the hardest one, without a doubt.
The source puts it beautifully, though. Not every silence is abandonment.
That is the mantra right there.
Because for someone who relies on external regulation, on that mirroring, silence is terrifying.
Silence is a vacuum where the am I safe question isn't getting an answer.
So the brain just rushes in and fills it with the worst case scenario. They hate me. I'm fired. It's over.
The brain absolutely hates a vacuum. Tolerating ambiguity means learning to sit with that quiet.
Just doing nothing.
Doing nothing. You see the text bubbles appear and disappear. You see the neutral facial expression across the dinner table, and you just let it be.
You don't rush to fill it. You don't say, is everything okay?
You hold your ground. You recognize the anxiety. You say to yourself, I'm freaking out because I don't know what they're thinking.
Right.
And then you deliberately decide to exist in the uncertainty. You learn that you can survive the maybe.
That is so powerful. Because usually the maybe turns out to be totally fine. The person was just tired. The text just didn't go through.
Right. But if you force an immediate answer every single time, if you demand the reassurance, you never give yourself the chance to learn that.
You never learn that the silence wasn't a weapon.
Precisely.
So if we actually do this work, if you listening, practice the pause if you eat the sandwich without asking if you sit in the silence, what is the actual goal here?
The goal is crucial to define.
Because I want to be careful, the source makes a specific point that we aren't trying to become these hyper-independent islands who never need a single word of affirmation from anyone.
No, and that is a very common overcorrection. People think the opposite of dependency is total independence. Like, I don't need anyone. I am a rock.
Right. Yeah.
That's just another form of a defense mechanism that's just hiding.
So what's the healthy target?
The goal is internal referencing. It's shifting the dynamic so that external validation becomes a bonus, not a necessity.
A bonus. I like that visual a lot. It's the difference between validation being the food you need to survive versus being the seasoning on the meal.
That's a great way to put it. Strong relationships absolutely include validation. It feels incredibly good to be seen. It is wonderful to be understood.
Yeah, it's human.
But a stable individual can stand without it for a while. They don't collapse if the mirror isn't held up every 10 minutes.
The source suggests a shift in language that I think really illustrates this difference beautifully. It's the shift from asking, "Is that allowed?" to stating, "This is how I feel."
Think about the power dynamic in those two phrases. Is that allowed puts the power entirely in the other person's hands?
You are literally asking for permission to exist.
Exactly. Whereas, this is how I feel is a statement of fact. It's sharing, not asking.
It changes the whole texture of the relationship. Instead of a parent-child dynamic, it becomes peer-to-peer.
It does. The source defines true connection as two regulated people mirroring each other, not one person constantly asking the other for permission to be there.
Two regulated people, that's the dream.
It's the ideal, yes.
Because if I'm regulated and I share my feelings with you, I'm giving you a gift. Here is me. But if I'm dysregulated and constantly asking you to fix it, I'm giving you a job.
That is a brilliant distinction.
Yeah.
You are giving them a job. And look, nobody is perfect at this. We all have bad days where we hand our partner the job description and say, fix me.
Oh, for sure. Please handle this. I am resigning from adulthood for the evening.
And that's okay occasionally. The source reminds us that asking for validation occasionally is relational. Requiring it constantly to function is dysregulation.
It's about the baseline. Where do your roots go?
Exactly.
You know, unpacking all of this, it really changes how I view that needy behavior we talked about at the start. It's not about ego. It's not about vanity. It's about safety.
It's about a frantic search for a mirror because you've lost sight of yourself.
It's actually quite heartbreaking when you see it that way.
It is, but it's also very fixable. The brain is plastic. You can rebuild these pathways.
So let's recap the journey we've been on today. We started with the idea that validation isn't a sin, it's a biological need for mirroring.
Right.
We learned that when that mirroring fails in childhood, we develop a survival strategy, which is dependency, where we outsource our identity to regulate our anxiety.
And we broke down the toolkit.
Yep.
The importance of the self-confirmation pause. Separating your internal weather from the external facts. Building self-trust through those low-stakes decisions like the sandwich.
And the hardest one, tolerating the ambiguity of silence.
All leading to that shift towards internal referencing, where you know who you are even if nobody's telling you who you are that exact moment.
That's the definition of stability right there.
It really is.
It's funny, looking through the stack of research, there was this one line that really stuck with me as a closing image. The text says, validation is nourishment, but identity must have roots deeper than reflection.
That is the key. If you think of yourself as a plant, validation is the rain.
It's good.
It's very good. It helps you grow. You need it. But if you don't have roots in the soil, if you aren't grounded in your own sense of self, the rain will just wash you away. You can't survive on rain alone.
So here's the challenge we want to leave you with today, and it's a practical one.
Listen up.
Next time you feel that urge to reach out, to ask, are you mad? Or was that okay? Or you're just hovering over the send button on a text asking for reassurance, just pause.
Take 10 seconds.
Ask yourself, are you seeking connection? Or are you asking for permission to exist?
Because the answer to do I exist has to come from you. You don't need anyone's permission for that.
And knowing that is where the real connection begins. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. We'll catch you next time.